Video 7 using imitation. So imitation is like canon, except that it's impossible to make a canon out of lots of melodies, and you end up having to fiddle quite a lot with the notes, but it still sounds a little bit like a canon because the rhythm and the overall melodic contour are so similar. Here I'm just using a sort of a drafting file version of my assignment to play around with some ideas. So I'm going to just take my melody and simply paste it in one bar later. I'll just pop it down the octave to make it easier to see. So what it looks like is Twinkle Twinkle at 1 bar canon in 4 parts. But I know this is going to sound bad because if I make this one my sort of master version, right? So the master version of the theme is the one that's going to force us to use its own harmony. So there's no real point keeping the chords on these other versions of the melody because the chords are irrelevant, because these are going to get changed to match these chords, as I hope you will see. So I'm just going to go Home, Tab, Filter, Chord Symbols, Delete. So what I really need to do, as I always do need to do, is just listen to it. Let's see how bad it sounds. There's the clash. Lots of clashes. Horrible. Even worse. Really bad. And it gets less bad. So, horrible clashes. We couldn't possibly leave it like this. This would be a fail. But let's look and see what we can do, right? So at this point here, we're supposed to be having the notes of an F chord, which we know are F, A and C, yeah? So we've got an A here, we've got a C here, but we've got a G here. So if we just simply make this into an F, we'll end up with F chord notes. And I admit this is not the exact melody anymore, but it's close, as you will see very soon. Okay, let's keep this practice going. We've got a C chord here. We know in the C chord is C, E, G. We've got a G here, we've got an A here. We don't want that. So we could move it to any of the notes of the C chord, but we're obviously trying to change the melodies as little as possible. So the closest one would be G, yeah? This is already a G, and this is a C. So now we've got all C chord notes, but we don't have any E's, which is a bit of a problem because it makes the chord sound unfinished if you're only using 2 of the notes. So there's a number of possibilities. We've got a lot of G's. They're playing G's, they're playing G's, they're playing G's. So I'm thinking we might just move this to an E. Yeah? Let's keep going with this theory. So we've got a G7, that's GBD for the G chord, and 7 is the F on the top. Here's a G, here's an A, here's a G. So this G fits, but this A doesn't. I need GBD, yeah? So I could make this a B, I could make this a B, I could make this a B. This opening da-da-da-dum, this rising fifth is very much part of the theme, and since I've already mucked around with this so much, I might be tempted to change this to a G, and maybe GBD, maybe this to a D, or I could change this to a D and this to a B. Now I've got G, B, D, F. So you've got to do a little bit of fiddling because you're trying to get the chord notes to work as well as the melodies to make sense. But this is do, do, mi, mi, re, re. It sounds quite nice. Do, do, fa, fa, sa, sa, ti. Not so good. We'll see. We might want this T to go up to do. So I'm thinking we could put a C there. C, E, G, A. Can't have it, can we? We could have a C, or we could have another G. I think I'm going for a C. C, G, C, E, G, B, D. There's the D. That's an E, no good. F. Could be an F, because, it wouldn't matter if we had a G7. G, D, G. But we need a B somewhere, don't we? We could make this a B. I like to have this G on the bass line. G, B, D, F. You could probably keep this F and temporarily turn this into a G7 chord. It wouldn't ruin the whole piece. It would just be another G7. C. Oh, can't have that. You could have an E. C, E, E, G. Yeah? Now, this is an interesting point. What do you do at the end? You know, your original theme is actually finished. Do we really need to do anything? Maybe we could just make these minims and be done with it and get rid of the rest. That'd be a possibility. Before we listen to the whole thing, let's just listen to this melody. I don't like that jump from T to me, so I might have to figure that out again, but let's listen to this. Not too bad. I sort of wish, since this is a C chord, that the bottom of this would be a C. So I'm going to turn that into a C. Then I've got C, E, E, C. So I'm thinking I could make this a G. That might work better. Then we've got T, T, So. Not so bad. I'd rather have T, T, Do, but I don't think I can do it because I'd have no G, because I want Fa, Mi there. So let's just leave it and see how it sounds. Lovely, isn't it? A very simple concept and not that hard, I would think. Of course, I could do another version of this at 2 bars, and it would be identically the same process. Paste them in, remove the unnecessary chords, then try to edit the lines so that they're making proper chords in the columns. Good luck.